Hello, my name is Chris, and you are listening to Your Career Kit. In this episode, I'm joined by two people who spend their days working with weapons and explosives. If the idea of maintaining, repairing, and even building bombs and smart missiles intrigues you, then come and meet Dave and Chris to learn about the weapons technician role at the RAF. Welcome to the show, Dave and Chris.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thank you. Yeah, really great to have you guys both on the show. You bring different perspectives to life in the RAF, so can't wait to get started. Dave, I think we'll start with you. My understanding is you're currently just finishing your apprenticeship as a weapons technician in the RAF, so please tell us a little bit about the role and how you found it.
For me, it was an easy choice when I went to the recruiter's office. For me personally, I think it suits a certain type of person. It's technical, but it's also it's a more exciting role for me. That was one of the draws for me. It's doing things that you wouldn't normally ever get to see or do or even hear about a lot of the time.
So for those who aren't familiar with what a weapons technician would do or an armour role, what is it you work on day to day?
So for me personally, I work on a Typhoon squadron. So that's dealing with changing things like the fuel tanks, the pylons, which are what attaches the different weapon systems to the jet, to the underwing. As a general, you do lots of like servicing line work when you're on a squadron, which is spread between all of the three: mechanical, avionic, and weapons technicians. And then again, when you're further on and you're getting sent here, there, and everywhere, you get to attach your live weapons to it. So your bombs, your missiles. There's a lot that goes into it, but that's just me personally. In the wider weapons technician community, there's multiple roles you can go down. You can go towards like an armory, where you'll be servicing different rifles, or you can go to the ESA, which is where they store your missiles, your weapons. It's like or even just smaller explosives, but it's the safe space on each station for storing your munitions, basically. There's a range of things you can do.
Okay, that sounds pretty incredible. So you basically get to ensure that, when pilots are up there, their weapons work as they're supposed to once they're up and airborne, and you take care of all that when on the ground, effectively make sure the aircraft's in great working order in terms of the weapon systems.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That sounds really interesting, I guess. So for those out there who enjoy, I don't know, explosives and that kind of, I guess it's engineering skills, isn't it? Those who like understanding how things work and making things, do whatever they're meant to do, I guess is the kind of role that'd be of interest to them. And you said that it was an easy choice for you when you left school. You were quite keen. What was it about the RAF that made that an easy decision?
So it wasn't specifically like, I left school thinking, yes, I definitely want to be an armourer. Or, sorry if I keep referring to as armourer. That's the RAF term for a weapons technician. Yeah, so when I left school, I knew at some point I wanted to join one of the three services. I was doing other things between 16 and 18. I was just doing sports. When I was at the point where I had to make a full-time commitment, like completely, or whether I was ready to join the military, was not far around was when COVID was hitting.
Okay.
So when I thought about it, I thought, right, I think just after my 18th birthday, I was like, I think now is the time to look into some of the roles. I had a brief look at the army from what I knew from family experiences. I had a look at the Navy's options. Within the RAF, the two roles that ended up catching my eye were the weapons system operators and the weapons technicians, because I wanted something that was hands-on, but also gaining your qualifications as you went along with it. So it wasn't like desk work, but you could combine the two so it didn't feel like such a chore, but you were still learning all your key skills and knowledge that you needed to better yourself, basically. When I'd narrowed it down to I wanted to become a technician within the RAF, again, I don't know, it was something, when I looked at it, I was like, armour, it chose me, sort of thing. Because I'm not as much electrically minded. As an armourer, you get a good balance, because a lot of the work you do is mechanical, but then you have to do lots of testing and fault finding within the systems, which brings in your electrical. So you get a nice, good combination of the both. You also get to be a sensible and safe big kid when you're playing with your munitions and everything.
Yeah,
So
and is that something that you've done as a child or growing up? Had you always been someone who likes, you know, kind of taking things apart and rebuilding them and that sort of thing?
yeah, I've always been into that sort of thing, and just the military in general sort of thing. I've always been a fan historically. Love watching old documentaries and hearing stories from grandparents and everything. Even just playing with my little soldiers, and just it's just something that's always caught my eye.
Okay, great, thanks. And you mentioned sport earlier, big into sports. I guess what sports do you enjoy, and have you been able to continue doing those sports
Yeah.
within the RAF?
Yeah, so I've always been big into my football, and table tennis was my other one. So I played professional table tennis before I joined the RAF. I knew people involved with RAF table tennis before I joined the RAF. So it was easy to get in touch with those people and get involved with things they've got going on. And again, with the football, I've represented the RAF under-23s team. And at the minute, I've played locally at my station, and I played some of the actual Highland Scottish League while I was up there too. As long as you're doing your work, as long as you're doing what's required of you, if there's an opportunity for you and it's going to better you as a person, or they do pull the strings to make it possible for you to do what you enjoy.
That's incredible. So the football you do, that's, you know, you're playing semi-professional football. Is that within Scotland? Is that something you just basically fit it in around your job, and they gave you time off when you need to go and make matches?
That was just filling it in around my job. There was times I couldn't train because I had to go to work, but again, with that club, they are in the area. They know they've had previous RAF players, and they were also very accommodating of that. But as far as the work side of things, yeah, they were more than accommodating with everything.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. You know, not many employers out there probably should be quite so accommodating to fit your passions in around the job. So that's brilliant. Chris, let's bring you in a bit here as well. So maybe just touch on your role and talk about some of those kind of benefits and opportunities within the RAF.
Yeah, so my role is a profession advisor. So I basically look after the cohort of armourers. There's about 1,000 of us, give or take. I look after the armourer and their training and where they're employed, and I make sure there's enough. There's people coming through the promotion system in enough numbers, all the way from attracting people into the Air Force, enthusing them on the way, you know, make sure they're appropriately trained, and to them leaving and potentially even rejoining the Air Force. And so that's my role. I've been in the Air Force 25 years. I joined up as an armourer in the year 2000 because of the breadth of employment you get within the specialisation. It really is second to none. I think that whilst I've been in the Air Force doing armourer roles, I've never repeated the same role twice. For example, I started off in a roll bay servicing pylons, servicing ejector release units, you know, the things that punch the bomb off the aircraft while it's flying. If you didn't have these, the bomb would just stay with the aircraft because of the aerodynamics. Missile launchers, so I was fixing, servicing, and maintaining them. After that, I moved on to bomb disposal, which the Air Force did at the time. We since lost that capability, but we are slowly, in some way, bringing that back slightly to explosive ordnance disposal. And then from there, when on promotion, I moved on to tornado aircraft, which has since gone out of service also. But that's where, similar to what Dave's doing now, you know, working on aircraft, loading real life missiles, real bombs, fixing ejection seats, fitting ejection seats, canopies, anything with explosives in. And from there, I moved on to a regiment squadron. So off aircraft, the regiment are the soldiers within the Royal Air Force, and they have their own armourers that look and fix and maintain their light weapons. And some of it is not light weapons. Some of it is not just your normal L8T5 rifle, you've got mortars, 81mm mortars, you've got sniper rifles, you've got grenade machine guns, you've got heavy 50 cal machine guns as well. That was all my responsibility to look after for the regiment squadron. And then onto Typhoon on promotion again, a desk of armourers whose job it is to go off to various aircraft and maintain them, all the explosives bits and bobs. Or as David was saying earlier, sometimes you're operating on the line as well, so you're seeing the aircraft off. Maybe there's very few explosives fitted to them, certainly not live missiles or bombs, or the gun's not loaded, but that aircraft still needs to go off and fly. We are, as much as we are explosive workers, we are also aircraft technicians as well. So much like the mechanical and AV specializations, we do the same stuff. And then my career has taken a strange path as a career manager for all the armourers. But you know, the diversity of the role is second to none, I think. The Air Force at large, I think there's a whole host of benefits that we can take advantage of, whether it's that lifelong learning. So every promotion you get courses. You know, they won't just put you up to the next rank level and expect you to just get on with it. They will teach you every step of the way what your increased responsibilities are. Often these courses are accredited. It's not just promotion courses as well. There's other courses that you can pick up through me, really, your profession advisor. We will offer you courses to professionally develop you as well as personally develop you. And these are all at no cost to you as well. I didn't go to university, but I knew I had a degree in me, and I didn't know what that degree was, but I thought, actually, I need to prove to myself and to anyone else who was interested that I had a degree in me. And the Air Force, you know, gave me the money to go and get that degree. So I did an Open University distance learning degree, and I've got a BA honours in history. Fantastic. You know, I've proved that to myself, and I'm currently doing an MBA, a level 7 master's degree in business administration. Again, I'm not paying for it. The Air Force is paying for it. That's courses, lifelong learning, and you can get money for that. I'm sitting in my service family's accommodation now, which is highly subsidized. So I don't pay the normal rates that I would expect to pay in Civvy Street. So I'm really taking advantage of that as well. The Air Force expects you to move around where they need you, and therefore they will accommodate you. Whether you're a single person or a married person, they will accommodate you and your dependents as well. But I mean, there's a whole host of stuff: medical, dental. You know, they will give you that. It's all free. My children are 18 and 16, and the Air Force and the Ministry of Defence are paying for them to go into boarding school because I'm expected to move around, right? And so why should they suffer and be uprooted from school to school to school just because their dad is getting moved around the world or the UK certainly. So, and on top of that, I've got a list here. So travel, you know, Dave can probably attest to this. The travel opportunities. I think the only continent I've not been to is South America with the Air Force. But so it's fantastic. Beg your pardon, went to the Falkland Islands, so that's got to be South America, I think it is. Why would I be going to the Falkland Islands? I wouldn't be unless I was serving, you know. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Okay, and so for those who are considering options finishing school, it's like, do I go to university? Don't I? Those who want a degree, what I'm hearing from you is actually you can get a degree. You join the RAF without a degree, they will cover the costs, and even an MBA, which I believe costs a small fortune if you pay for it yourself. So the fact that you can get all that, it's not an either-or choice, is it? It's choose the kind of career path you want, and actually if you choose an organisation like the RAF, they will actually help you get those degree qualifications that you might want, but you don't have the crippling student debt that happens if you pay for it yourself. That's great to know. Brilliant. Well, let's talk about travel a bit more. Dave, I understand you've travelled recently. Is that the case?
Yeah, but I've only recently come back a few days ago. I volunteered for this opportunity to go. It was taking part of Op High Mast, which is like a joint tri-service sort of operation going on at the minute, as you might have seen on the news with the carriers. They're currently doing a bit of a world tour. So I went away with another Lossiemouth squadron, of which I'm based. I had a great time. I mean, it's work, it's operational work, which is my favourite thing to do as part of my role, is to actually do the job that I want to do, sort of thing. You're making a difference somewhere, you're doing something real. It's not training based, it's what you're doing is important. you're responsible for almost the pilot at the end of the day. If we haven't done things the way we should, and he's going into the Middle East where it can be anything can happen over there sometimes, then we're putting his life at risk with our work, which it's a lot of responsibility, but it makes you have a lot more pride in your work as well at the same time. About a year now, I was away there doing what we're doing next month at the same time. So I've had a taste of it, and yeah, back into the longer hour shifts, doing what really matters.
Yeah, it's just fascinating because most organizations, whatever role people do, there's an element of teamwork. But from what I'm hearing from you two is that this is teamwork on a whole other level. You know, the pilot can get in a plane, but if it's not well serviced, if the weapon systems don't work, he's a sitting duck up there, or the plane won't even take off. So that sense of a shared sort of goal and everyone working together to achieve something. But then you have the added element that this is life or death in some situations. So yeah, as you say, if you guys don't do your job correctly, people pay a heavy price. But it also sounds as though the RAF give you that thorough training and development to make sure that you are safe and you are capable. They're not bringing the deep end and just hoping you figure it out. You've got a real sense of purpose and achievement and the tools and support to help you get there.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that teamwork that you talked about, I think that the team size will shift. You can be in a 4-person weapon load team, or you could be part of your entire shift, including air crew. And that's the team that we talk about. And it could be that small, and then half an hour later, actually, your team has evolved, and you've got other trades, you've got other, you've got air crew with you as well, or the ops as well. You all have to work together. Communication is key. And as you've said, and as Dave said earlier, that because of what we're dealing with, aircraft are inherently dangerous anyway. Throw a load of explosives on it, it becomes even more dangerous. So armourers are very, very careful. And that's where we take pride in our work, because we are very careful, because we have to be, especially when you're sending aircrew off to somewhere that's not particularly nice. It concentrates the mind, because, as we said, that could be the difference between life and death. Having said that, we have a load of fun doing it. We really do. And part of that is the teamwork, that you bond so closely with your team, especially the other armourers. We're sort of quite well known for being tight with each other.
Lots of camaraderie. It's one of my favourite parts of being an armourer. It's the camaraderie we have, just the way we gel together. That's why when I mentioned earlier about the armourer job chooses you don't choose. You always get like-minded people working together, and it's especially it just gets amplified when you're away from home. When you're away from home and you're all in the same place, same thing for 3 months or however long you may be there, it's just you're in it together, and you just become really gelled, and it's just a good feeling.
And I think wherever you go, I could move on to the next job, and I'll be with another set of armourers. Dave could go to his next job with another set of armourers, but we're all armourers, and we're all each other's brothers and sisters, so we are that close. It's unique, I would say, amongst the Air Force to have a group of people doing all different things, but so closely bonded together.
A few days ago is a perfect example. When I went away with 6th Squadron, I didn't know a single person. I'd never spoke to any of them properly. I'd never had a sit-down conversation. And I went over there, and it was as if it was my own squadron. I was welcomed. Everyone just got along great. They trusted me to do my job, and there was no rubbing together at all. It was really nice.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I imagine it is pretty unique, just because the stakes are so high. And I guess when you go in deployments and things, I guess you are spending that time living and working together, which will develop those bonds more closely. But I guess when the stakes are as high as they are, and so much of your job is around that team element, I imagine that actually, that camaraderie is far stronger than you'll ever get in any other organisation, really, because the pressures just aren't the same.
Yeah, I think another word that I would use is trust as well. We trust each other to get on with the job, because as a supervisor, you can't be seeing literally everything that occurs around you, so you've got to trust the people to do what they need to do. And getting it wrong is unacceptable, and it can't happen. for obvious reasons, especially when you're playing and operating in and around explosives.
I really agree with Chris there, and it's a two-way trust too. My supervisors trust me to do what I'm doing, but it's also the trust of having the integrity that if something's not going the way it should, or something's not how it seems, that you can go to them, talk to them. They're not going to belittle you or patronize you. They're going to point out where you can improve it, or whatever needs doing to fix that problem, because it's both of your problems. You're not going to get shouted at for doing your job properly. You need to have that trust both ways. Yeah.
I think as much as an engineering supervisor, as much as their job is to ensure that any particular task is achieved, equally amongst that is to make sure that their team is supported and developed, has the right tools, and motivated in the right way. You're bringing through the next generation of supervisors every task you do, and I think that's, well, I've not been in any other armed forces, but that's what I think we do really well in the Air Force and in the engineering profession, and specifically in the armament specialization.
Thank you. And Chris, sorry, Dave, come back to you just for a little more detail around the kind of, I guess, the phases of the apprenticeship you've gone through. So you joined the RAF, you mentioned phase 1 basic training, and then how's your apprenticeship played out? How long has it taken, and what kind of stages have there been?
So as an armourer, or as any technician role, you then go to RAF Cosford, which is just near Telford and Wolverhampton in the Midlands. There you do, normally lasting about a year, roughly, give or take, where you'll, like we've mentioned of the various armourer job roles, you have to know it all in a basic form. You have to have like a foundation understanding of all the different specifications that you could do as an armourer. So it starts with more the general, like the maths, the English. Then you move on to your aerodynamics phase, understanding flight. And then you go into your more specific things. You learn different weapons. You learn the aircraft weapons, like just mechanical hand skills. Because obviously, as someone who's just left school, you might never have picked up a hammer or a torque wrench in your life. So it's giving people the basic knowledge and skills that they'll develop as their career progresses, and then finishing it off with the general line phase before your graduation. During this period, you get normal not school holidays, but there's breaks in the course. At the time, I don't really know how I felt about it. Obviously, it's a lot coming at you at once, and because you're getting tests pretty frequently at the end of every phase. Each phase, some may be even shorter. They may be only a month or 2 months long, and you're getting tested constantly. But looking back, I had a great time in and out of the classroom, and it suited my learning style because I'm more of a hands-on learner. And although there's still a lot of classroom work, you're working on the job sort of thing. You've always got instructors who've been there, done that. They know what they're talking about and help you as an aviator develop. And then upon completion of the course is where you get your first bit of paperwork. You get your level 2 aircraft maintenance certificate. And then that's where, from there, you'll find out where you're posted to, what specification you're going to be going into. And it's not just like a pick out of the hat. You do get choice, and you get a negative choice. And the recruiters or the people who are in charge of manpower will take these considerations and any external factors. For example, people with long-time girlfriends, some people are married, some people have children. So if they have external factors that mean that they should be closer to home, or whatever their requirement may be, it's always accounted for.
Okay, so that's the negative choices that you kind of say where you do what things you do want to do and things you don't want to do, and likewise with places.
Yeah,
okay.
But you don't put them preferences in until right towards the end, and by then you sort of know what you want to do or where you want to go. And they also have people come down from these bases, and people who do a various different number of roles, who will just give you a honest as it is answer of what it's like to do that role.
Okay, that's good to know. So people applying don't have to have it all figured out. They can kind of apply with a vague interest, and knowing that as they go through the training, they're going to get a good sense of where their strengths and weaknesses are and interests, and they can adjust from there.
Exactly how it went for me. I didn't plan this far ahead. I just went with the flow, wanted to better myself and enjoy myself in doing so.
You talk about bettering yourself. It sounds like there's so many opportunities there. I guess if you're the kind of person who's prepared to put a lot in, you're going to get, there's an opportunity to get an awful lot out from your career.
Yeah, I would agree. So Dave was talking about the Cosford side of the apprenticeship. You come out with a level 2 aircraft engineering, is that right, Dave? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's aircraft maintenance level 2. It's with city and guilds too, so it's not a military apprenticeship. It's as good on Civvy Street as it is within the military. And
on completion of your residential phase, which is at Cosford, you then go to your first tour, and then you complete the level 3 diploma element of that on the job. So whichever environment you're in, so Dave's on aircraft, so he'll be doing his developmental competence element, which is the level 3 diploma. He'll be doing that on aircraft with all the evidence he gathers from working on the aircraft and in and around the aircraft. Some people will not go to aircraft on their first tour. Some people will go to an explosive storage area, and what their job is to maintain, build, and service weapons. So they'll have different evidence to put forward for their level 3 diploma. So wherever you are first based, you'll get the opportunity to complete your level 3 diploma. I think, Dave, you're just about to finish yours, is that right?
Yeah, so I've submitted all my evidence, got all of that back, so I've achieved my level 3. But to finish the apprenticeship as a whole, I've just got EPA assessment, which is like an independent group that come in, and so you can use the same jobs as you've used as your evidence. You can use the same evidence and write about that, or you can, if new jobs have happened in the meantime, you can take the evidence of that in and go through. Now they do a 3-day crash course, which is sort of getting this chunk of work, which it used to be always doing your own time, answer all these questions, a bit like the first section of the level 3, where you collect it over a period of time and then use that evidence to fulfill whatever requirements are needed. Whereas now you can, once you've completed all of this and you've done the bulk of your apprenticeship, an independent assessor will come in for 3 days with you. You'll get all of the rest finished, and then all that's left is a Viva interview, where you'll just have a formal discussion with an independent assessor about your job and just different various things that come alongside it, whether it be aircraft, whether it be documentation and safety procedures, just whatever they want to know, you just sit and talk to them about it. And it's basically just to prove your competence and that everything you've done is you're ready to move on to your next stage and develop further.
Okay,
so that's the level 3 apprenticeship in engineering technician apprenticeship complete at that point. Within the engineering profession, we have the ability to have a skills descriptor attached to our rank. So Dave's an AS1, but having completed the level 3 diploma, you get a technician status as well. So yeah. AS1 technician, which separates us from the non-engineering profession.
That's just where I'm at the minute. You get your ring. It's a little ring that goes around your rank, which just proves you've done your bit. That you've qualified in your certain profession. It definitely is a little bit of pride over other trades.
And the good thing is that what the Air Force can do is they will be, when you get your technician status, you can then apply to an institution, an engineering institution, and you can have the post-nominals Eng Tech after your name. So whether it's the Royal Aeronautical Society, the Institute of Explosive Engineers, or the Institute of Mechanical Engineers, IMechE, it's not a lot of paperwork. We just apply through them. They will award you through the Eng Council the post-nominals Eng Tech, and then when you get promoted to corporal, the Air Force will give you some money for that, for being a corporal and professionally registered. Currently, it's £3,000. And then if you wanted to work on top of that, there's other levels, incorporated engineer and chartered engineer, and they will give you more money for reaching incorporated engineer as well. We encourage personal and professional development within the Air Force.
That's great, but also the fact that it's recognised, outside the RAF as well. These are qualifications that are more broad. So if you did decide to leave at some point, then those qualifications are meaningful, in other careers as well. So that's great to know. And it's also nice to hear that it's a mix of some classroom learning, but there's also a lot of practical work and just being on the job. It's not all classroom based. So for those who maybe haven't enjoyed school as much, or have different way of learning, that don't like just to sit in the classroom and be talked at, then this is a nice blend of two different ways of learning.
Yeah, that's right. So I think, I went through 23 years ago now. So tell me if it's changed, Dave. But the initial start of the apprenticeship is quite classroom based. It's the academic section, so maths, physics, and as Dave said, the theory of flight, electrics as well. And then it starts getting into electric theory, electrics practical, and then you go into the more of the role specific stuff. So you'll learn how a bomb fuse works. You'll learn how missiles operate. And then, as we've discussed, there's an element that talks about explosive safety and the regulations attached to that, but also working in an explosive environment as well, and all the regulations that are attached to that. And as we've said earlier, as you go through that process, you'll pick out where your strengths are. You'll go, actually, I like that element. And then at some point your dream sheet will come out, and then you can put yourself forward for various jobs in various locations, all the way from the top of Scotland, where Dave is, all the way down to bottom of Cornwall, whereas we've got a base in Cornwall as well. So, and everywhere in between.
Yeah, that's pretty much still. Obviously, it'll have been tweaked plenty in the meantime, but it's pretty spot on what Chris was saying. It's, from what I remember, it was about 3 to 4 months of the foundational, like, classroom sort of work of understand everything, and then after that, that's where you start getting more down into the armourer side of things. You'll still be in the classroom, but it's majority hands-on from that point. There's still times where you need to learn because it's new. It's things you've never heard about. You still need that understanding, but there's a lot more emphasized on the work side of things, the hand skills. So it's a pretty sweet balance, I think.
Yeah, I imagine that if we pick out crew escape systems, or so ejection seats and canopies and things like that. So you'll have a period where you do a lot of theory, understand how these things work in a classroom-based environment, and then you'll go, right, let's go to the hangar, let's go and take it apart and see how it works. And, we'll go through a schedule of complete uninstallation all the way to reinstallation, and you'll learn it, and you'll learn by making mistakes, and you'll not make them again. And it's a tried and tested method, and I think it really works.
Great. And I guess the flip side to this means that you don't need a huge amount of this knowledge before you join, which I guess is on the plus side. So I think the entry requirements to this role are GCSE grade 4 in English, maths, and a science. So that's great. So you don't only hire people who've got a proven track record of certain qualifications. People can come in who are interested in this. As long as they've got a good work ethic, they will, the RAF will help develop those skills and give them what they need to be successful.
Yeah, and if you don't quite make those GCSEs, then there is a waiver process. If you're showing aptitude in other areas, you have to, as well as having the civilian qualifications GCSEs, you also have to take a defence aptitude assessment.
Okay.
We have to, which looks, it's an aptitude assessment. So theoretically, you can't revise for it, but it'll be able to pick out your strengths and weaknesses. So whether it's numerical reasoning, electrical comprehension, mechanical comprehension, verbal reasoning, it'll be able to pick out where, certain elements of where we need to hit to join our specialization. If you don't make whatever the number you need to make, there's a waiver process, and I can, if you've been really keen for all through school and you take motorcycles apart, or you take you've been in air cadets and you understand what you're going into, then so the system will be able to go, actually, no, this person probably had a bad day on his aptitude assessment, so we'll invite them in and see how they get on.
Okay, great.
So just to elaborate on that point as well. So when you're at Cosford, when we spoke about the maths, for example, so if you have got your GCSE entry requirements, the example on my course, someone who hadn't hit that, but they sat a level 2 foundation while at Cosford,
Okay.
which gave them that same qualification. And then obviously some of us who had passed it already, we didn't have to do that test, but it just we were all kept as one, we were included, wasn't pushed to one side, just got his qualification there and then later down the line, and then moved on as normal with the rest of us.
Okay, that's really good to know. So people who are out there thinking, is this right for me? The barrier, the right kind of person there's a route in here.
And I failed my maths exam first when I was at Cosford. I didn't do very well at all. I had to go to the flight sergeant's office and they coached me through it. They gave me that extra time. The instructors sat down with me and explained where I needed to improve and how I was to improve, and passed.
And you've been there 25 years in a really successful career, so it just shows the support's there, isn't it? So,
they haven't figured me out yet. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, look, guys, it's been really, really interesting. I guess just to kind of wrap things up, have you got any kind of advice or insights for students who are about to finish at school, college, or uni in terms of what they should be thinking about when deciding on the next steps, and any particular thoughts on the RAF specifically?
So I would say it's a really exciting time to join the Air Force. It's a volatile world. There's no getting around that. But you'll be at the forefront of technology. You'll be at the forefront of stuff that's going on in the world, and you'll have a real good insight as to why things happen and what we can do. And, it's not all projection of air power. It's helping the community as well. We do a lot of helping in the community, whether that's down to your local village and helping your community in that respect, or it's MACA requests. So when the government need RAF people to go and do a thing because they haven't got enough border force, or they haven't got enough fire people, or they haven't got enough police, you'll be able to help your nationwide community. I personally have no regrets about what I did. I would join the Air Force again, and I've had a fantastic time. I would encourage anybody to consider the Air Force. We want people to be in the Air Force. We want people to enjoy their time in the Air Force. And we want people to stay in the Air Force. We only do that by rewarding people while they're serving, and I feel rewarded. That's why I'm still in 25 years later.
Completely agree. He's hit the nail on the head. And it's for someone who if you have just left school or you've just finished college and you're looking, what's next? University, do I want an apprenticeship? Do I want to go straight into work? I'd say even just seeing the benefits that are advertised on the website, there's so much more to that. My favourite part of my job is not just the benefits and everything that comes with. I enjoy my work, but it's the lifestyle and the camaraderie, like I said, home and away, just the people you meet friends for life, you meet people you'd never seen before, you're doing things that you'd never normally do. You speak to people when you're at home and you forget, because things that become the norm to you, it blows other people's minds. I'd fully recommend it to anyone who's on the fence. If you haven't got a direct career in mind, I'd more than recommend it, especially an armourer.
Brilliant, thank you. And there's no cost to apply, is there? So it's the kind of role people can apply. They're not sure they can apply, and I believe there's there's careers advisors attached to your application as well who will help you work out which role's right for you and things. So it sounds like a really well managed process. And if you're not right, that'll be clear to you and you can look elsewhere. But it's the kind of thing where actually, if you're not sure, take a risk, put your application in, and see what opportunities it might open up. Brilliant. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, guys. Thank you so much. There's some really great detail that's come out of this. So I think anyone listening has got a really good grasp of what the job looks like, but also what a career in the RAF as a whole entails. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
We hope you enjoyed listening and picked up some invaluable tips or advice. If you did enjoy, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. If you're looking for student jobs, be it part-time jobs, gap year roles, apprenticeships, internships, placements, or graduate roles, head to e4s.co.uk. See you next time.